Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast series. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach, and your podcast host. Today, we're going to do another installment of our new segment of the podcast series called In Their Words. In this segment, we are going to hear directly from former FranCoach clients who have become franchise owners. We are going to pick their brains about their backgrounds, what led them to consider franchise ownership, how they navigated the process with the FranCoach team, as well as what franchise they chose and how it's gone so far. Today's guest started his franchise a little over a year ago, which means he has gone through the normal growing pains of a new business, followed by having to deal with a pan-freaking-demic. And we're going to hear all about this, and through all of that, he is still happy and thriving as a franchise owner. Before we tell you that story, however, we've got to tell you this one. So who the heck is FranCoach? We are a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals who are interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with over 500 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 60 industries. Our goal is to help clients find the best franchise to own. Our goal of the Franchising 101 podcast series is to help educate people on all aspects of franchise ownership. So that's us, but who we really came to talk to today is Mr. Paul Gordon, the owner of Corporate Caterers franchise in balmy Minneapolis, Minnesota. Paul, thanks for joining us today, man. How are you?
Great. Happy to be here for sure.
Good deal. And you told right before we started, there's none of that crazy white stuff falling from the sky currently in Minneapolis. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, we're not quite turning into the desert yet, but there may still be a chance for a white Christmas. We'll see.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, no, been in Arizona for a long time, so we have some Arizona first world problems going on, picking color for the deck around the new pool. So, so I don't want you to lose sleep over that. I think we got it figured out, but we're look forward to appreciate you joining us, man. I just greatly enjoyed all the time we spent, year and a half ago, pushing 2 years from when we first chatted. We want to hear about Corporate Caterers and your experience, but share with everybody a little bit about your background before jumping into the franchise world.
Sure. I have been in the culinary world for eons. I started off, I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and then came back here to Minneapolis and bopped around all the white tablecloth, highfalutin restaurants and country clubs. And then figured, you know what, this is a little bit much for me, and I wanted to get married and start a family. So I stumbled into corporate food service. And I've made quite a career with that. I worked in corporate food service for, oh my goodness, I'm dating myself, but 25 years.
That's fine. You started when you were 7. We get it. Right.
Exactly.
All good.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and, that gave me the family life, and I was still able to stay in the food business, which I loved. So.
Gotcha. Okay. And you were there for a long time, but what eventually we connected, and that I can barely remember what I had for breakfast, let alone how you and I connected probably close to 2 years ago now. But what got you even kind of interested in exploring having a business of your own?
Yeah, well, I'd climbed up the corporate ladder and, had a good position. But, I was doing more than a 9 to 5. It was almost a 6 to 10, 5 days a week. And all my hard work was going straight into the pocket of the corporation, not necessarily myself. So it was time to explore other options. And yeah, I can't exactly remember how we connected either, but, first hearing you're like, hear me out. We'll go through this. We'll see what your likes are, what your dislikes are, and we'll just go from there. So it was great. There was no pressure. And, you and I just started developing conversationally how, what I was looking for and what I would be looking to do.
Yeah. Well, and just kind of looking back, we started with 3 very different looking franchises in 3 very different industries, and you're kind of honestly an anomaly with this, because most times people end up starting a franchise that's in an industry that they have little to no experience in. Yours was a little different. You kind of took a peek at a couple other things, but were really drawn back into, a kind of a way to have something from a food standpoint, bring in that passion with your skill set, but also without the, ginormous overhead of something that's, the typical food type of things. Right. So,
Yeah.
what, talk again, I know it's been a while, but that's journey towards the end with corporate caterers. What was, do you remember kind of a point where you're like, something kind of triggered that you really felt, hey, I can see myself doing this. I can really, not just corporate caterers, but just ownership in general?
Yeah, I mean, I had quite a big team. I had 13 managers and in 13 different locations. So I was definitely confident in my leadership and uh, organizational skills per se. But yeah, it was interesting to take a look at the 3 you presented. And yeah, I remember you saying that typically, people who they start in an entirely new industry and do quite well. I think for me, like you said, with being an anomaly, I had gotten away from what really started me off in culinary. So I think this was a calling back per se to my passion and, owning my own business doing it. So I think that really, like I said, I was kind of surprised myself because we had those conversations, but I'm glad you threw that in there.
Yeah, but you're right. You were kind of in the industry with your last corporate gig, but not really, I guess you would say,
Yeah,
right?
I
So,
was, shirt and tie in it, and client meetings and WebExes and conference calls, and yeah,
oh, that sounds
I
awful.
had nothing to do with cooking anymore. So.
Yeah, just hearing those things that just gave me the shake. So
Yeah,
it's
me
been
too.
little over 6 years of for me in ownership roles, and boy, I don't like. Oh, man, I don't miss those things. So,
Oh, yeah,
um,
yeah, a
so
little
so
PTSD for myself.
yeah, exactly right. So you kind of get to the point with corporate caterers, but talk to just maybe kind of let's take a moment. We've mentioned them a couple times. Tell everybody. We'll just let's do a little plug for corporate caterers and certainly corporate caterers of Minneapolis. But what the heck do you guys do?
For sure. We are America's favorite office caterer. So we, much like the name says, focus on corporations. So our main clients are for lunch and breakfast and sometimes dinner meetings. We have a lot of connections in the medical industry, as well as up here in Minneapolis. We have a lot of banks up
Right.
here, and they have a lot of money. So that is our main client. You know, we do it differently. We're not a Panera. We're not a Jimmy John's. We bring our clients and customers the food. We actually set it up for them, family style. And now these days we're doing individual boxed items, cold and hot as well. But our typical setup is we have a blue tablecloth, we have Schaefer's, we have real tongs and spoons and bowls. It's not a big foam fest. Um,
No
you know,
sporks.
yeah, exactly. And so we go in there, we set it up, and then we come back and we clean it up and box up the leftovers for them. So really, a lot of these admins end up, especially when they're buying from Panera or something, the delivery Jimmy John guy comes up, says, "Hey, I'm here." There you go. Drops it in their lap, and he's out. We look at it a little differently. We take their order and we take it from there. So we come in again. We set it up. Come back and clean it up, and you'd be amazed to see some of the admins and some of the account managers be like, "Well, you're gonna do what?" So yeah.
And you're not bringing nothing wrong with a little Jimmy John sandwich from time to time, but you're not bringing just some ham and cheese sandwich. You're bringing like actual real food.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been, again, going back to my culinary roots. We make our own turkey and roast beef for our sandwiches here in house now. So, um, yeah, I got the culinary degree for a reason, and I'm using it. So.
And the potato chips, right?
Oh yes, and
Those
our
are, I know
tropical chips. Yeah,
those
so,
are kind of a signature thing.
yes.
I'm a little disappointed nobody has sent me any of those over the last year, so I'm just gonna throw that out there. But so you've got that, right? So as you got started, right, all the excitement you get through. I want to say it was maybe end of last May, something like that, when you were down in Florida at Discovery Day with their team, kind of getting everything finalized. Go through all the pre-training, get launched. Walk us through that, because there's not many times that are more, I guess, probably scarier than, okay, we're officially open for business. Please, somebody be our customer, and what that ramp up looks like. So, what was the official kind of opening date? What was that for you guys?
Our official opening date was September of 2019. So I went down for Discovery Day, met the crew down there, saw the operation, and was very impressed. So that was another thing where I wanted to go and look at franchising, because it wasn't me just quitting where I was at and starting off from scratch and calling Joe Signs and this and that. A lot of the franchisors have you set up. So there's a awesome website. There's marketing already developed. There's a lot of that stuff that's there that can help you get up and going. Corporate Caters even has the co-founder come out and help basically open you up. So his name's Jim. He spent about a week or so, 10 days out here with me, getting us all set up and going, and showing us how we do some marketing and all that kind of good stuff. So the support's there, the marketing's there, and the best thing is I can always reach out to some of the other franchisees, and pick their brains. They're independent business owners as well, so a lot of them have been through it, and it's great that they're kind of in that same business as I am, and we can bounce ideas around. So with this pandemic, a lot of us have done pivots, and we've relied on each other, and that's been another great thing that I definitely wouldn't have had if I didn't open up this franchise. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, so talking about that, you get through, you start in September. So you are basically about 6 months in, starting to feel good. You got some good clients, you're getting repeat customers, you're getting good word of mouth. And then we all get smacked in the mouth with the coronavirus. And I think there are still businesses that have, what are we now, 9 months into basically this, that are still really kind of struggling to adapt and basically just kind of froze. There's that whole fight or flight, right, thing. But I think that you can also just kind of sit there and be completely frozen. You could have froze. You could have complained about the coronavirus, but you busted your butt and looked for a different way to do that. So instead of just kind of collapsing as corporations stopped, bringing people into the office for a while, talk a little bit about kind of what you did to pivot your business to keep it growing.
Yeah. So as this wonderful virus thing has hit us, it was one of I'll never forget it, about 2 days worth in March where every single order I had canceled. And yeah, we're sitting there looking at each other like, oh my God, what's going on here? So, perfect that, I'm owning, being the owner is, there's a lot on your shoulders, of course, but it allows you to, pivot or take your business in what direction you want. So, I utilize some contacts and some connections in the nonprofit world up here and within the counties and city governments. I got put on as a vendor for all the cities, the counties, and the state on the approved vendor list. And then just did some networking. Once I got in with a shelter, homeless shelter, or doing dinners for them 4 nights a week for 100 people. I was able to network with some of their colleagues and move on and help out a different shelter. And then I hooked up with a nonprofit organization through the Hennepin County called MACV. It's Minnesota Assistant Council for Veterans. And we are doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner for some vets coming out of the VA system and transition. And that's 7 days a week. So we are actually quite busy. I blew up my first year projection, which is amazing. So we are very lucky. But again, if I was in my old position, I would probably be sitting home.
Yes, like millions of others right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was nice in that regard to be able to cut my own path, make my own path. So
that's
after
awesome.
everything that, the journey that we started and the challenges that I faced to get here, where it's pretty amazing to be where we're at right now. So
Yeah, yes, indeed. And but I want to go back to something you said. You're like, oh, we're lucky, and I learned this, and I think I'm stealing this from. I want to say this may be from the old Good to Great book, but don't 100% quote me on that. You are just, in all the times I've got to know you, just a genuinely good person, very humble. But anytime I hear the word, when somebody's very successful and they say they're lucky, that's a bunch of crap. Because you know darn good and well you could have sat there and complained about coronavirus, your corporate caterers, we don't have corporations to cater for, but you didn't, right? And it's still finding that kind of following a plan is the most important thing any franchise looks for in a potential owner. Well, you're smart enough to know how to do that, but then you also have to be able to problem solve, right? And be able to do that, and that ingenuity, because we all know businesses and just people in general that haven't been able to, you kind of walk into the wall and you just stop. Well, if you would have moved 2 feet to the right, there's an opening. So kudos to you. I mean, I'm not at all surprised, but kudos to you for that, because those are, one, it's helping your business, but you're also helping the community,
right.
In a pretty cool fashion. And as things start to open back up, and especially we get into next year, and now all of a sudden we get some catering back in addition to all these other things, you better start hiring some more people here, my friend. So with that,
yeah,
so
I'm actually running out of space here. So
already,
yeah,
so,
exactly.
which is it's a good. Hey, those are good problems to have,
it is,
right?
It is.
So so you've been basically open for about 15 months. Over half of that has been in a pandemic. So knowing everything that you know now through all of this craziness of 2020, let's go back a year and a half. Would you do it all over again?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Um, I think it was just the the things we went through and the conversations we had, made me realize that this was what I wanted to do, and that I was more than capable of doing it. So, um, I think, again, I went through a life-changing event, with battling some cancer. Um, so it was time to make a move and do a move for myself, and my family. And I couldn't have found a better partner in you for sure, and helping me find this opportunity. So it was a scary leap for sure, coming from the corporate job, that was always there, paycheck's always there, but it was one that I knew that I could do, and so glad that I did. So glad that I did.
Awesome. Yeah, and the corporate paycheck is always there until it's not, and you know darn good and well, all right. If you had stayed where you were, you'd be unemployed right
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
right? Based on everything that has happened. But hey, let's not gloss over this. And I hope you don't mind me making a big deal out of this, because this is a big deal, man. First of all, you are a cancer survivor, and hopefully still doing well with
Yeah,
that,
yeah, totally.
especially
Yeah,
with this. But not only are you a cancer survivor, you were going through the ends of your treatment while we were working together, going through the discovery process and vetting the franchises. And and you didn't share that with me for a while,
right.
right? And it was kind of like, then it was like, oh, by the way, but I can't tell you like how many, I don't know how to better say this, lame ass excuses people will use. Oh, I got a hangnail, I can't keep going on with the process, or oh, there's the pandemic, I couldn't start a business now. Dude, you did this going through the ends of your treatment, started the business, got smacked in the face with the pandemic that shut down businesses that were your clients. And you, as you mentioned, you blew away your projections for the first year,
Right.
right? And then you're going to give me the all shucks, I'm lucky thing, right? So again, the just I it's, to me, it's always been just really awe inspiring, even back then. Talking about that, what you went through and how you just kind of basically set your mind to, it's time for better lifestyle for you, for your family, put that hard work for yourself versus someone else, and have been able to just kind of, I guess, if you can overcome the big C, you can overcome the little C of the corona and the pandemic for running a
Yeah.
business. So seriously, man, it's just amazing what you went through, and how successful
Yeah.
you've been.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate you sharing that
Yeah,
with everybody.
absolutely. I think my chemo nurse said it, and it really resonated with me. She said, it's time for you to do you. So that not only meant take care of myself, but in my mind, it meant it's time to do something that you love. It's time to do something, for you, for your family, and for
Yep.
the rest of the team. So that I'll always remember that it's time to do you. So anyone out there that's
Yep.
kind of floundering around, at lost, or wishing that they could do something else, well, maybe it's time for them to do them as well. So
Well, which is funny, because the kind of the last question I always ask people, and you sort of beat me to the punch, but is, you know, based on your experience of, year and a half, 2 years ago, going through the process, now being an owner for a little over a year, what would you share? Maybe now I'll rephrase that. What else would you share with somebody who maybe is listening to this, that's considering looking at franchise ownership and don't even know if they should take that step to even explore it?
um let's see. I think it's well worth taking the time to sit and talk through with yourself or someone from the FranCoach team about things that you may not even know, that you want to do. The discovery process was great. And it did bring to light some things that, I never thought about that I would want to do. What else? I just lost my train of thought, man.
Well, and I kind of threw that at you when you really gave me the best answer already with the from what your nurse said. But yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And I know you're busy and taking some time out of your day in between the work day and time with family. So man, seriously, I can't thank you enough for spending a little time with us to chat with us today. And I'm very excited. I know you're going to continue to be just a huge success with corporate caterers. So seriously, man, thanks so much for coming on today.
Appreciate it. And that, it's some of the hardest work that you'll ever do, but it's some of the most gratifying work that you'll ever do for sure. So
yeah, without question. So
awesome.
Cool. And hey, don't be afraid to some of the leftover, good stuff. Don't be afraid to ship that down to Arizona. It'll be well taken care of. So we'll do wonders on it.
There you go. I'll see if I can find any dry ice. Maybe in hot demand here soon.
Yeah, just pack it in snow. I'll make a snowman next to the new pool in the backyard. So it'll be awesome.
Nice.
But seriously, man, we appreciate it a ton, and for all of our very loyal podcast listeners, we hope the Franchising 101 series continues to provide insight into all of the amazing possibilities that can be achieved as a franchise owner. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast platform to ensure you never miss an episode. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a franchise owner, then let's schedule a brief introductory call. There's probably a little link in your podcast window, or you can find us online at FranCoach.net. There's never any fee for our service, so we encourage you to take that first step today to help create your better tomorrow. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Stay safe and have a great rest of your day.